What's up? This is a guide for map 1 of summer 2022. You would think it would be pointless to make a video about a map that is literally one U-turn with 2 small chicanes, but there's a bunch of interesting stuff going on in here. First, let's drive the map as if we'd know nothing about this game. We get to the transition and tap right to land in a slide. Now we hold the angle and exit straight. This gets us into a big airtime and into the last water section. Here we want to aim for the goal as straight as possible, especially on keyboard. If you have to steer, do so as carefully as possible. Just look at how much speed this one left tap cost me. Even with the bad ending, these runs would get author medal, which is awarded for completing the map in under 16.805, but I want more. There are a couple of things we can do to improve on this. The biggest impact change is probably to take a different line through the dirt turn. Instead of trying to stay inside after getting close to the inner border, we let our car run wide to carry as much speed as possible. Then we exit straight and get a little bit of airtime before the transition. First, this looks slower, since the car has to travel further to get through the turn, but then the white line overtakes us with a massive speed advantage on exit. We gain 10 speed on corner entry by letting the car run wide, and 10 more just by getting more acceleration because less slide angle is needed on the banked section of the turn. Once we drove into the finish, this saves roughly 0.3 seconds. The next improvement we can make is to input the right amount of steering while bouncing on the water. This requires action slot 2 on keyboard or careful 40% angle inputs on controller. All you have to do is hold some direction while you are bouncing on the water. If done correctly, this should save you another 0.2 seconds. Now we are down to 16.1 seconds to complete the track. The other improvements are either really hard or don't make much of a difference, but if we want a great time, we will still have to try to make them work. First, let's talk about the start. Here we can wiggle our steering with action keys 2 after hitting the booster, which is slightly faster for some weird reason. As soon as you are no longer getting boosted, you can stop, it doesn't make a difference. We still want to land as far left as possible. This saves around 0.01 seconds and seems to gain no speed to the first checkpoint. Now there's only one major trick left, and it's a big one. If you are like me, you were probably already thinking about how to avoid the airtime before the last checkpoint, and people have found a way. To understand this, you need to know that there is a bump in the road whenever transitioning from dirt to asphalt. We need to prevent this from launching us up away from the ground. After exiting relatively far on the left, we air brake immediately and hope for a bounce where our car is only on its left wheels as we are hitting the transition. This means the wheels on the left are launched up, but the wheels on the right are allowed to continue coming down. This leads to our front right tire touching the ground much sooner than it otherwise would and allows us to continue accelerating. I offset a normal run that doesn't get airtime so that you can see the time gain for yourself. If you are going for this, just be sure you're getting an exit similar to mine and keep trying. It takes many attempts until you get lucky. If done well, this saves like 0.3 seconds. It makes a massive difference, as you saw. My best time with all of this was a 15.795, which is 75th in the world. What lost me roughly 0.1 seconds to the world record? Well, let's find out by comparing myself to the top 3 players on this map. At the entry to the dirt turn, I lose roughly 0.05 seconds, probably due to an overly steep landing. I think my attempt at reducing airtime was fine, but the lower speed that is carrying from the beginning loses me another 0.025. At the water, all of the top 3 set up to the right so that they can just hold left for multiple bounces until they have a straight path to the finish. Then they switch to holding right. I, on the other hand, have to adjust multiple times and even bonk on the road border. This is probably what lost me another 0.05, which adds up to a total of 0.1 seconds behind the world record. Okay, I have one last thing that doesn't actually save any time, but I think it's kinda cool. The player, Shkr, who should really put some vocals in his name, lands much lower on the dirt. He, very importantly, waits until the car has settled before steering, then he steers with roughly 60% steering angle and no slides the first part of the dirt turn. This allows him to carry more speed and catch up to his competition. And that's all I have for today. Since I got a time that I'm somewhat happy with, here is my entire run without edits. Bye.